This week's episode of the Zompire Horde podcast is brought to you by Bloody Knuckle Customs. Come check us out at www.bloodyknucklecustomers.com.
What's going on?
Hello and welcome back to an all-new Zompire Horde podcast. Tonight we're doing the Saint Valentine's Day Massacre. I'm your host, Vlad Three Fingers Capone, with my right hand over here, Michelle of the Dead, and my sworn enemy, Patty Moraine.
You're going down, Capone. I don't have a clue.
Man, he's like, no, man, I'm in another state.
Good, happy Monday, y'all.
Yay! It's our number one fan, Melissa.
It's
Patrick
Monday.
is back. He was you're still not doing good, but you are back.
Yeah, still got the COVID.
Are you still testing positive?
I am. I'm the only one in my household that's still testing positive. Everybody else is like clean and free, and I'm like, no.
Are you reinfecting yourself?
Yes, purposely.
How does one reinfect themselves?
Oh, I mean, spit into my hand and then drink it.
That's one way. That's one way. No, I'm coming out of a cold myself. I actually was down for a couple of days, but I'm feeling better now. It's just like a lot of head stuff, congestion, shit like that. But no COVID.
No, good job. Way to pass your test.
Thanks. I hope you seem like you're feeling better anyway.
I am for the most part. I still don't have a lot of energy. It's really weird. I went 3 years into this pandemic without getting COVID at all. And I always heard people talk about how when they got it, their energy levels just diminished. And that shit's no joke.
Is this your first time getting it? Okay.
I walk up our stairs and I feel like I'm 80 years old. I'm like, man, what the hell just happened? This COVID shit is fucking me up.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't had it yet that I know of, unless I was asymptomatic or whatever.
Is that from when you guys went on vacation?
We got it shortly after, so it might have been. I don't know. Honestly, I think we got it from my youngest daughter. She does competitive cheer. And I think we got it. She brought it home from a competition.
Fair enough.
But enough about me being sick. Let's talk some gangsta shit.
Gangsta Saint Valentine's Day Massacre.
It's the ring. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yep. You look looking pretty fly there for a white guy.
You're looking pretty dapper. That's a word from those times.
I figured
dapper.
I figured since our story was going back to 1929, I had to break out some old Tommy gun bullets. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, look at you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
nice.
Had to get proper.
Tommy guns
super proper.
were two of the weapons used in the massacre on that day. Two of them were Tommy guns.
They were a favored. They were a weapon of choice.
Well, it was like two of those and two 9 or not 9mm, these 38s or something.
Yeah, police issued weapons. Right. I don't remember. I don't think they actually said what the remaining two of the four weapons were.
They did.
The four shooters.
They did. I just can't remember if they were. I think they were 38s, but it was two Tommy guns and I believe two 38s. What we're talking about, obviously, the Saint Valentine's Day Massacre, for anyone that doesn't know or isn't familiar with the story, was an assassination of 7 members of the North Side gang of the pretty much Irish gang, North Side Chicago, versus Al Capone and the Italians of the South Side.
Allegedly, Al Capone.
Allegedly.
It was him. That fucker did it.
Yeah, he did it. I mean, I'm Vlad Three Fingers Capone. If anyone knows who did it, it's going to be me.
Yeah,
Uncle Al did it. Do you guys know how Al Capone got the scar on his face?
How was that?
Wieners?
So, I believe it was 1928. and he was still in the Bronx, I believe, New York City. That's where he was originally from. He went into a nightclub, and I guess there's a gal that was going through the club, and she was sitting at a table full of people. And he walks up to her, and he out of nowhere he goes, hey, you got a real nice ass. And the girl's brother was sitting at the table, gets up, pulls out a knife, and like slashes him across his face. And so Al Capone, that's why they called Al Capone Scarface. And he actually really hated that name. And later in life, he even tried to use makeup in public to try to cover up his scar. So that's where we get like that kind of that moniker Scarface from. That's what Capone's nickname. Just a little background.
Which the
Very,
movie
very
Scarface
nice.
is loosely based off.
Right.
Very
Did
loose.
it was Capone that what's his name did? The guy who was in Mad Max and Warrior, Tom Hardy. Did you guys ever watch that?
No.
No.
It's called Capone, and Tom Hardy plays Capone. I watched it a little bit, but didn't really pay too much attention, and I wish I had. But it's a movie, so when research for this topic, it wasn't all that necessary.
Yeah, I haven't watched a good gangster flick in a long time. Like I stopped watching gangster flicks back when the Untouchables was being made. Scarface, Carlito's Way, which is like one of my absolute favorite gangster flicks. Carlito's Way is so good.
It's one of the most underrated gangster flicks that I can think of.
Oh yeah, Carlito's Way for sure. John Leguizamo is so badass as Benny Blanco. Benny Blanco or Blanco? I don't remember.
Benny Blanco from the Bronx.
Yeah, dude, he was so good in that movie. He was such a douche.
Real quick, Anne-Marie Belter says, "Good evening, everyone. Watch what you say to a lady, because you might get your face slashed," is what she said.
No. Everyone, guess what she said? You really need to watch what you say to a lady.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's the story where
otherwise you'll get cut in the face and turn out to be a famous gangster.
Famous gangster.
Oh, I thought you skipped part of her sentence. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I might have. I was just trying to get to the meat and potatoes. You know what I mean?
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're paraphrasing it.
Paraphrasing it is
got you.
As you kids are calling it these days.
You young whippers.
I'm older than you.
But so back to the Saint Valentine's Day Massacre. The reason it's believed Capone was the kind of put this in motion, the massacre, was, back then it was Prohibition, right? So in Chicago was like one of the major hubs for illegal alcohol, and it was obviously run. Was it
whiskey?
Yeah, whiskey. But so you have these two rival gangs, the Irish and the Italians, going at it, and there was plenty of murders up until this point that kind of like drove the bus, as it were, to the massacre. Did either of you guys kind of like look into any of it? I know Patty.
Oh yeah.
Did. Oh, good. Let's hear what you guys. Let's hear some like what you think. How did it transpire? Who did this?
Well, of course Capone did it.
Yeah, it's.
He's like, I'm gonna send my guys.
Because at the time, Capone was in
kind of
Florida.
It's kind of hard to not lean on Capone. I mean, especially, who isn't guilty of something like that and then just leaves to his house in Florida while this shit's happening? Like, I'm just gonna
be over here.
Vacation
I'm just gonna be over here
to Florida for a little while.
Yeah.
While these men kill my rival.
Yeah,
like that I had nothing.
I have nothing to do with it. Promise.
He was actually in Florida giving sworn testimony for a case in New York. So while he was in Florida, he made sure to go see the prosecutor to give his sworn statement. So it was basically proof he was there. Not just he flew down there and he could have easily come back. As the news broke, he was sitting in the prosecutor's office in Florida.
Yeah, getting his alibi. Like,
right.
Oh no, shit! I'm in Florida.
And here's my thinking on this matter is because we all know that there was like two cops or two people dressed as cops and two other guys.
I think it was two actual cops. I don't think it was people. I don't think it was people dressed. I think Capone, because Capone had ties with law enforcement. They were on his bill. So slip them some money, slip them enough money, and you got a couple cops with a vengeance. They're gonna sign up. They're gonna be,
Well,
oh hell yeah, we'll go and shoot these people.
and well, before uh, the massacre itself, one of the cops' kids was murdered by
Yep.
like one of Moran's like gangster, like one of his associates or something to that effect.
Which
Well,
is
and that would
why,
also explain the police issue weapons. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, because the 230, you say they're 38s. I which I trust, but I don't remember seeing. But
Let me
they
see.
were registered police weapons, whether they're 38s or not. They were registered police weapons. So how do you get that unless you're actually working? I mean, they're criminals. I'm sure they could probably get them, but I'm a firm believer that that 2 of the 4 shooters were actually cops.
Yeah, I think those are the ones that like basically brought him in, lined him up on the wall, and then the 2 guys with the Tommy guns walk in, and then you know what I mean, just
yeah.
Well, the four people escorted him from a parking garage to this wall because there's eyewitnesses that show like two people in suits and 2 people in cop uniforms walking these people outside of a parking garage into like this wall area and just lined them up and shot them basically execution style.
Melissa, during the actual like massacre itself, there was 7. One guy, when they showed up on the scene, 6 were dead. One guy was still kind of alive, and he ended up dying like 3 hours later. Oddly enough, too, when he was in the hospital, they were like pressing him, like, "Who did this? Who did this?" And the
He's
guy's
like,
like,
nope.
"He's like, I haven't. Nobody shot me." And they're like,
Yeah,
"Dude,
he
you're
was
laying
gang
Who
here
shot
dying
you? Nobody
inside."
shot me.
He's like,
Who
"Nobody
shot you?
shot
Nobody
me.
shot me.
What are
Yeah.
you talking about?"
Crazy.
Yeah.
Loyal to the end, man.
Well,
Yeah.
there's street laws, and back then,
Yeah.
there was no DNA testing. There was no like. I mean, how many real ways was there to prove a guy killed a guy in the 1920s other than somebody actually saw it happen? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like even then,
Oh, yeah.
ballistics probably back then were shit compared to like what we have now. I'm sure like maybe each gun left its own imprint on a bullet, but did people in the 20s think about that? Was that a thing?
Well, and
Who
he
knows?
was a dead man anyways, right? So if he either dies from that gunshot wound or the hospital saves him, and if he snitches, the hospital might as well not have saved his life because the hospital had ears everywhere, and that snitch would have
Yeah.
got back,
He was
and
gonna pass away at the hospital.
he would have been killed anyways. So
Yeah.
I'm looking right here. It says like so the police tested the 2 Tommy guns that were found in Fred Burke's Michigan bungalow and determined that both had been used in the massacre. One of them had also been used over in Brooklyn to kill mob boss Frankie Yale, which confirmed the New York Police Department's long-held theory that Burke was responsible for Yale's death. I'm trying to see where it says anything about the second guns, but now it's not showing me anything.
yeah, when I did my brush up on this for the episode, I didn't see anything about the other guns. Everything I saw was about the 2 Tommy guns that the people in suits were wearing.
That those are the ones they were carrying were the Tommy guns.
Yeah.
'Cause it would probably look pretty awkward for the cops to have the Tommy guns.
Oh man, not this day and age.
No.
Cops walking around the street with automatic guns is nothing now. But back then, yeah, they would have been like, "Oh shit, that cop's got a Tommy gun. Something big's about to go down."
Yeah.
Shit.
Nowadays, it's just like, oh, he's got an AR-15. No problem.
Yeah.
It's just an assault rifle.
Oh, that cop just got into a tank. No big deal.
So after the hit's done, Chicago's, Prohibition era Chicago probably changed quite a bit, wouldn't you say?
I mean,
Because now you got one guy kind of overseeing all of it.
yeah, that was, I think, like, I mean, I'm not a scholar in the in crime, like the 20s crime and mobster stuff. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I'm pretty sure that was the event that solidified Capone as like top dog of the area for quite some time. Because I mean, Moran was his number one rival. The North Side was like his like competitive rival. Getting rid of them or taking them down a couple notches is what pretty much solidified his rule as like supreme overlord.
Update. What I'm reading right now is witnesses outside the garage saw a Cadillac sedan pull up to a stop in front of the garage. 4 men emerge and walk inside, 2 of them dressed in police uniform. The 2 fake police officers carried shotguns and entered the rear portion of the garage, where they found members of Moran's gang and associate Reinhard Schwimmer and John May. So they're saying 2 shotguns, which I think back then would make sense. I feel like, back then it's not like they had assault rifles and things like that. Cops carried shotguns. I remember like in one of the Texas massacres with Andrew Bernarski, I think it was like 2003, the one with the sheriff, or 2006, whichever one that was.
Yeah.
And they had like the shotgun locked in a little thing in the front seat of the car. So I'm sure that was a very typical weapon for cops back in like the 20s,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like the single barrel, like shotguns. Oh yeah, for sure.
Maybe a little over under and lever action.
Yeah, the lever action shotguns, brake barrels.
Is there anything more iconic though to that era than the Tommy gun? Because it's not a gun you really see today. You still see revolvers, shotguns, rifles, but nobody's out with a Tommy gun.
Yeah, what the heck? I think you should bring the Tommy gun back.
Yeah, no, I mean when you think of 20s gangsters, yeah, I think of alcohol and Tommy guns
and awesome pinstripe suits.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite things about Dick Tracy, is it like took that era but made it like way like Batman, Gotham City-esque, like cartoon. You know what I'm saying? Like gave it kind of like that darkness.
Right.
But I always loved the suits that those dudes wore, and kind of like that old mobstery like feel that the Dick Tracy movie had.
Yeah, I feel like when I think mobster too, I think baseball bats. There's a lot of like a lot of mafia stuff was like up close and personal, right? They didn't take care of people from afar unless there was like a big group assassination or something. But there was like there's a like I just think of the scene from Untouchables when Robert De Niro's walking around the table with the baseball bat and he's just like talking to people, and then he just stops and beats the fuck out of that one dude upside the head with the baseball bat, and then continues his day. Like continues conversation, and then he stops and he's like, this is what happens when you fuck with me, basically. It's been so long since I've seen the movie, so I don't remember exactly what he says, but it's basically like, cool, I'm giving my speech. Then he fucking just hammers the shit out of this dude with his fucking baseball bat, and then continues his speech like nothing happened. And it's like, I think about that kind of stuff a lot. It's like, that kind of shit probably just happened where like people just died at a dinner table while people are just having like, hey, Frankie over here fucked us over, so they slit his throat, and then everybody else just continues eating dinner.
Melissa Volan says it's still common in the South for cops to have rifles or shotgun, but there are wildcats and zombie deer and coyotes. Oh, but there's wildcats and zombie deer.
Wait, what? What's a zombie deer? Why have I not ever heard of this? What is a zombie deer?
It sounds familiar.
We get one on the show?
You're right.
Then as soon as I heard zombie deer, I immediately thought of Evil Dead.
Isn't it? Don't they like get like they're infected with some virus or something like that just makes them?
Can this be an episode topic?
Crazy. I mean,
zombie deer.
It could be.
How is it not a horror movie already?
Right, and how come, Melissa? Are you gonna give us an answer? I need to know what a zombie deer is.
Oh wait, here we go.
It is a disease.
Care about the...
It's a disease.
Is it like rabies, where it affects their nervous system? and then it's always fatal.
Oh wait, here we go. Perfect answer.
There you go.
No, that's
Actually, really quick too. One of my favorite, because we kind of like skipped over when we were talking about favorite mobster movies. I'd be remiss if we didn't mention Casino, because that's one of the
Oh,
all-time greatest
that's great.
mob
I love
movies.
Casino. It's
ever.
so good.
Casino's good, but I don't think it's the best.
Well, nothing is better than Godfather 2.
Carlito's Way.
Ah, I can't. I love Carlito's Way. I love that movie, but I just can't do it.
Untouchable.
You know, I forget what channel it was, but they were doing like a Godfather's marathon for like a couple of weeks, and Michael had never seen any of the Godfathers. He's like, I've never like, are you fucking kidding me? So he
Dude.
like, and he's like, and then he's like hooked. He's like, oh, this is so awesome. How come we've never seen this before?
That's
no,
right.
the Godfather series is good. What
It is
about
really
Heat?
good.
Heat was a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I saw Heat. I don't
That's
think I saw
got
Goodfellas.
Pacino and De Niro in it, doesn't it?
Heat? It has Val Kilmer and De Niro, I think.
Oh,
okay.
nice.
Melissa says similar to rabies, it doesn't transfer to other animals. They just stare at you and can be cannibalistic.
That's so then
That sounds
why
like a-
would you have to shoot them
Well, because here's the thing, right? We know
if they
about
just stare at
mutations.
you and they
We've seen
only
enough-
eat each other?
We've seen enough zombie movies to know about mutations. It takes one mutated fucking zombie deer to bite one of our dumbasses, and the next thing you know, we're all living in a fucking
Is that
bunker.
why they're shooting them to keep
And you
it
know
from
it would be one of us
mutating
three
to
that
humans?
gets bit because we would be like, dude, look at that zombie deer and go up to it.
Melissa, I need to know more. I need to know more about like why are they getting shot then? If are they afraid of it mutating?
Well,
Well, if
probably
they're cannibalistic, maybe they're killing off the deer population.
yeah, like you can't eat these fuckers, and they're eating the good fuckers. You can't.
But
They'll attack you.
oh, I thought they only stared at you.
I find it funny that Bats uses
Use a
that to take out Joe Pesci's character. You know,
Hey, maybe that's why he's called Bats.
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 Yeah, I love that fucking movie. I feel like it's the most realistic of all the.
Casino.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Casino's good. I like it.
So
Unfortunately, I haven't seen it in like 2 decades, so I couldn't talk about it. But I
long
remember liking
movie.
it.
It's like 3 hours long.
Yeah, the
It's
last
a
time I
super
watched
long
it,
movie.
it was on 2 VHS tapes. 2. I had to switch the VHS tape out to finish the fucking movie.
One of the worst.
Oh, it was on TV recently too. I think
One
they
of
were
the-
having like some sort of like gangster thon.
I
month or
think the
something.
reason I love that movie so much is I love Ray Liotta and of course Joe Pesci in it, but Ray
Dude,
Liotta is
yes.
just magic in that movie.
Yes.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Ray Liotta was so awesome.
What was I going to say? This one's a little off topic because it's not like a gangster movie, but have you seen
Love
Blood In,
Goodfellas.
Blood Out, Bound by Honor?
Blood in, blood out. That sounds like an old 80s martial arts movie, like Kickboxer or No Retreat, No Surrender.
I think
Karate
it came
Kid.
out in, like 91, but it's like a Southern California like prison movie, and it's really well done. It's a really awesome movie. I
Is
try
it
to
like
get
Street Gang?
yeah.
Nice. Blood in, blood out. That makes sense.
Yeah, there's a meme where it's like because there's a white dude and he's like his mom's Hispanic, and so all of his cousins are Hispanic, and he's trying to join the Hispanic game, but he's like half white. But there's this meme where he like throws up a gang sign, and so whenever somebody like agrees with me in like a friend type of way, I always like use that meme. It's like a white dude trying to throw a gang sign. It's pretty funny.
That's so funny.
But Melissa agrees. Blood In, Blood Out is amazing. Actually, if you saw the movie American Me, which is also another old like Southern California prison gang movie, there's a character, and I can't remember the character's name, but it's the white guy who's a part of the Hispanic gang. The other movie, Blood In, Blood Out, is actually about that guy's. It's based on a real guy. It's about his life growing up, like in that culture and everything, and going to prison and stuff.
You know what I'm learning on this episode? There's a lot of gang movies that I have no idea existed.
There really are. You know what we don't have though is a mafia-esque horror movie.
Oh, there's got to be one out there.
Yet.
somewhere.
Yet. I wish I
There's
had
one. I'm gonna Google that shit real quick.
Well, there's like Clownado. Of course, there's got to be a mafia horror movie.
Clownado.
I watched Clownado.
That movie rules. I'm sorry.
I've never
It's like
seen
this.
it,
There's a storm coming, and then like it's like it beams them down, and then they kill people. And
I've never heard of it, but it sounds like something I need to watch.
You do need to watch Clownado. I've been trying to watch all of the cheesy horror clown movies. That's for another episode, though.
Hey, while he's looking this up, let's talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
Next Monday, February 13th, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have on Richie Ramone of the legendary punk band, The Ramones, and also an established actor who worked with you, Michelle, on Friday the 13th, Vengeance Part 2.
Bloodlines.
I didn't want to fuck it up because I know it's, I always say, what's the other one that I always mix it up with? It's
Roseblood.
Roseblood. Like
Yeah.
Roseblood. Like, it's not that one. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to, we were in this Friday the 13th movie together, and we were in a band, and we used the band, and he was my bandmate. It was just really cool.
Yeah, so that's next Monday for anyone.
Yeah,
Wanna, like,
excited.
Are you gonna come with lots of stories, Michelle?
What's that?
Are you gonna come with lots of stories?
Oh, perhaps.
No, not perhaps.
We're gonna have to have it. We're gonna have to put his Ramones albums on repeat for all week long, and watch. Not was it? God damn it! I almost said Roseblood. Is it Roseblood?
No, it's
I already forgot.
Bloodlines.
Hey, you Bloodlines. Hey, you guys know my oxygen's low, so my brain's not with it.
It's true. Your brain's not working.
But
right now.
Bloodlines. So we're gonna have to watch that a couple times this week, so we're all refreshed.
Yeah. So you can see.
I've already watched that movie a couple times. I love that movie. I can't tell. I've already told you a million times, Michelle. You guys did a fucking fantastic job on that movie.
Thanks.
Like,
I read something today that said Jason Brooks took the essence of CJ Graham and Kane Hodder and melded them into his own Jason Brooks brand and fucking brought it all the way through the top.
Dude,
of the fucking
he's ruthless.
That is such a good fucking description. It's so true.
I embellished the fist up thing and all that, but
I liked the fisting. It was great.
They didn't talk about fisting in the article. Okay.
Then you want to kiss the ring.
Oh,
fuck your ring.
No,
I thought that was real. That's such a good example of his version of Jason.
Well, and here's the thing: is he worked on it with CJ Graham, so I'm sure him and CJ Graham had plenty of conversations about Jason the character. But fortunately for me, last year I was in the VIP room when Jason Brooks was in there, and I got to sit and talk to the guy for like an hour. And one of the things we did talk about was him talking to Kane Hodder. So I'm sure getting both of the magic from those two legends embottled inside of them, someone shook it up, rubbed it a little bit, and out came, Speaking of also, and
I don't even know what the fuck just happened right
there. Thank you, Melissa.
I saw him post a picture of his wiener in the Wiener Museum of Sweden, I believe it is. Is that right, Michelle?
It's Iceland. They just went to Iceland. Yes.
Who did that?
So, what? Well, okay. In the movie, the beginning of the movie where the character gets his
wings.
Do you remember the movie? I don't want to get any spoilers.
Yeah.
Louis dead, and he gets his penis chopped off. He wanted to donate it to the it was a Icelandic phallic museum, which is a real place. And I guess they heard about this and they contacted them and was like, hey, we want this movie prop. So you're going to have to come out here. So they flew out to Iceland and they brought it out there. And, they've got like a special little
it's
display.
Not little. Stop saying little. There's nothing little about it. That thing's a fucking baby arm holding an apple.
Well, let me tell you that when you put something in water, it looks bigger because of distortion.
Because the picture of both of them looking at it, and that thing I wish it was like it was like this. They're like, I was like, holy shit. It's a fucking 24-ounce of beer coming at you. I felt stretched out.
Oh man.
All right. So back in 1929, February 14th at 10:30 a.m. in Southside Chicago. I guess I don't know what side of Chicago.
Back when wieners were tiny.
This is good stuff. Are you gonna be all right, Michelle? Just breathe it out.
Hey, I'm supposed to be the one coughing right now.
This is good times.
Go back to our regularly scheduled program.
Back to our regularly scheduled program. So the general consensus, I think we can all agree, is that Al Capone set this shit up, flew out of town to cover his own tracks. Some of his boys went in, murdered these boys in conjunction with the Chicago Police Department, who were mad about one of their own sons getting killed previously to that. Fair statement on.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Yep. Verdict is in. Capone is guilty.
Yeah.
Guilty. And it's too late because he's dead. So it's not like really.
Is he? Is he?
One of the things that, like, oh yeah, he died. Well, yeah, he died a long ass time.
I know.
I'm like, I don't know what year, but I'm sure it was a long ass time. There's actually in New Jersey, about 20 minutes south of where I grew up, there's an old hospital, and it was like an old mental hospital that he lived in at some point. I guess like if you go into there now, and now it's an actual functioning hospital. But I guess there's all these like they're wide enough to fit a vehicle, and there's all these tunnels that went out of the building in separate directions. And I've never been able to explore it, but I've always thought it was pretty cool. I wonder what it would be like for like a ghost hunter to go somewhere like that, where you have where you have the history of the, what do they call them, sanitarium? You know what I mean? The mental hospital. Yes. And also anything that may or may not have happened while Capone lived there.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Speaking of like the areas of shit happening, the brick wall that the massacre happened on was eventually tore down. And, some of the bricks sold to like collectors and stuff, but a bunch of the bricks are in Vegas right now.
Isn't that like the 114 pieces or something like that? Wasn't there something like 114 bricks?
Yeah, it's a pretty. I mean, it's not all the bricks, but it's a pretty large number, and most of them are owned by the Vegas Mob Museum right now. So if you want to, and you're in Vegas, you can go through the Mob Museum and take a look at the bricks that Al Capone had people assassinated in front of.
Nice. Creepy.
Yeah, apparently
unsettling.
The bricks of the North Wall were originally purchased by a Canadian businessman because the building was demolished in 1967, and it now acts as a parking lot for a nursing home. But apparently they were displayed in various crime-related novelty displays. Many of them were later sold individually, and the remainder are now owned by the Mob Museum in Las Vegas. So they actually own them. Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, they bought a good chunk of them. I think what they did was go through and they just tracked down the personal collectors who bought them and bought them from them, and now own a bunch of them in the museum.
I hate that I'm going to do this, but I have to show this because we just got spammed. It's our first spam. Boom. 69mega.com fire.
Oh,
Future is here. Dating AI.
Dude, they sent us like the 5 of the same message.
84% match.
Can you block that?
That's blocked.
Okay.
Yeah, we can block people, put them in timeout, anything we want.
Ooh, you gonna put me in a timeout?
No, you're in timeout.
I don't know, but I'm kind of glad that 69mega.com hit us up. Maybe we can get like paid for that or something. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Trying to get that paper. So as we've said already, next week,
Richie Ramone is going to be joining us.
He's going to be joining us live
on
here
air
on the Zompire Horde podcast.
Yes.
With your hosts, Michelle the Dead, Patty Moran.
No, you were right the first time.
Vlad 3 Fingers Capone.
Capone.
Cap 1.
cat one.
I was gonna
Anyway,
start
what's
separating more. Oh, by the way,
That's
I
so
saw
funny.
that. Oh shit, what's her name? I got to go to Facebook to find out. The Seattle Crypticon made
Oh, yeah.
90th day.
Yeah.
Do you remember her
Hold on.
name?
Hold on. I'm trying to go there.
I'm excited because one of my favorite films is People Under the Stairs.
Ooh.
I love that. I love that
Yeah.
movie.
And her name is Kelly Jo Mentor.
Yep.
She was also in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child, The People Under the Stairs, Popcorn, The Lost Boys.
Popcorn was such a good movie.
Dude, she was in New Jack City and House Party. She was in Mask. We're talking like
Mask.
legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious which Mask. Is it the Jim Carrey one or the...
I don't know. We're going to have to look that up.
I bet you it's the Cher one.
I hope it's that one, but I think that one's a little... No, maybe she was around that age. I got to know. Vatos Locos for life, indeed. That's what he says in that meme, Vatos Locos forever.
But the meme that you
like
use.
Crazy ones, right? Vatos Locos.
Crazy for life.
Crazy for life. Anyway.
Well,
thank you guys for tuning in to an all new, all fresh,
funky, fresh, and fine
pre-Valentine's Day edition of the Zompire Horde podcast.
And nobody brought me any of those little candy crunchy hearts. How dare you?
Well, it's not Valentine's Day yet.
That's next week, sir.
Yeah.
You just said pre-Valentine's Day show.
Oh, but it's... So you open a Christmas present on Christmas Eve, don't you?
No.
I do.
And what if I did?
I haven't got a Christmas present in like 20 years. So
what? Aw, really?
Well, I don't really do presents like too often, so I don't really think of it. Yeah, all right. Maybe I'm being.
I love doing little gifties.
Anne-Marie Belcher says, "Great as always." Thank you.
I love you, Anne-Marie. That's Nick the Zombie's mom.
I know. And until next time, Vlad Three Fingers Capone, Michelle of the Deadites, and Patty Moran.
Patty Moran.
This week's episode is brought to you by Body Scare. All natural body care products so good, they're scary.
What's going on?